Because the globe has no demonstrable science whatsoever, we know the globe's scientifically impossible. What we do know the globe has plenty of is psychological techniques to get you to believe in absurdities, like scientifically impossible balls in a vacuum. And it relies on that. Starts at school and then of course relies on the mainstream media and society itself to gaslight itself and keep itself in order. And of course anyone speaking up, asking questions, your average Joe who blogs in the street is going to gaslight you, simply with a pre-packaged pantomime style response put there by the mainstream media. It's fascinating to watch, but none of this gaslighting works when you stand by the things that are simply true, the things that can be tested and verified by all, the things that prove the globe scientifically impossible. So when you stand by that and you represent that online, you then subject yourself to a different set of tactics. Yeah, of course, I have lots of propaganda videos made against me, none of which can refute my fundamental claims, demonstrable reality. Instead, they have to highlight and defend space pantomime. Of course, the mere fact they're doing that, again, highlights them, exposes them, and the globe. It's a very simplistic method I use, demonstrable science and space pantomime bashing. It's great, can't be refuted. You can argue with my opinion regarding your space pantomime, but you can't refute my fundamental claims, which prove your space pantomime's faulty anyway. Very easy system, very. But because I employ that system, I then have to entertain different types of tactics. People pretending to be truthers then try and gaslight you, get you to sort of doubt yourself. But again, when you stand by the fundamentals of what are, you won't be gaslit. But when you put certain videos up, you do put yourself out there in a situation where these people then, don't get me wrong, I don't mind other people's opinions varying from mine, that's fine. But when you employ certain methods and tactics in your comments that we're about to see in a minute, it's obvious it's a form of gaslighting by a pretend truther. This is another method people like myself have to deal with. Again, it doesn't work because I stand by what is. I don't care if your opinion differs from me, that's great. But when you start to try and gaslight me, pretending to be a truther, I'm going to highlight your tactics and you. Again, it doesn't work, and we're going to see why. Because of my stance, they can't refute it. They then try and gaslight me, but all they do then is expose themselves. This is what is great about having no bias, having nothing but the truth in my heart, and not being swayed by anything that can't be demonstrated. If you make the claim, demonstrate it. It's that simple. I mean, we know from day-to-day lives that tower cranes, we're supposed to believe that they can be dead still and spinning, wobbling, oscillating ball, doing ludicrous speeds in all different directions. But when we have a real reference here of tower cranes dealing with real motion, i.e. the wind, it becomes quite obvious that the Earth's not a spinning, wobbling, oscillating ball, because gravity is absolutely mocked here as these cranes are dilly-dallying all over the shot. Again, it's obvious. Every scientific demonstration on this Earth proves the globe's impossible. These machines wouldn't exist on a spinning, wobbling, oscillating ball. Let's get to the gaslighting comments anyway. But it's stuff like this, demonstrable reality, as my foundation, which makes me unshakable to the gaslighters, because I have no bias, only honesty in my heart, and I stand by the things that are. But let's check this comment out, this attempt at gaslighting. Let's highlight these tactics. This is from yesterday's video regarding Putin and this fella called Aussie Cossack. I knew, as soon as I put it out there, I knew it was going to cause some friction, some difference of opinion regarding the politics in the background here. But of course, because I stand on the very fundamentals, I knew I was right anyway. Few people have defended this, not agreed with my claims regarding the Aussie Cossack, more so towards Putin. And that's fine. But when you use the methods and go the route that young Christian has gone here, it becomes obvious you're at it. Like I say, I don't mind anyone disagreeing with me, but we're going to expose a gaslighter here, pretending to be a truther. Sorry, but in this case, you are not thinking far enough. Now, I'm not going to read all his comment. He essentially thinks that he has inside knowledge of what is going on on the ground in Ukraine, okay? And claims that I'm way off the mark, despite the fact that my claims were that if Putin was a real truth seeker, he would have brought the whole pantomime down by exposing space. That way, there would have been no bloodshed. That's just common sense. But this guy has come to try and cause some issues and gaslight. So, fair enough. So let's deal with it. No offence, but did he deceive mankind by pushing the globe and space? Remember, for years, American astronauts supposedly hitched a lift to the ISS on Russian Soyuz rockets. He has the power to expose the whole space pantomime without bloodshed. He hasn't. He chose war. Now, rather than accept that valid point, and we get this. It seems you do not know what the Russian army is really doing in Ukraine, like you do. Please spend more time getting true information about what is about that instead of whining about the globe lie day in, day out. Do you make any money with your YouTube videos? No offense intended from my side either, wink. Strange that you didn't address the fact that Putin could have resolved the whole scam, or without bloodshed, by exposing space, if he was a truther. Strange you didn't address that, fella. Instead, you wanted to talk about, do I make money out of YouTube? Obviously, I've just come back taking the piss. Yes, I make thousands daily from advertising and t-shirt sales. An expert researcher like yourself should know that. So obviously, this is going pear-shaped very, very quickly. All it was a question, because I can't understand why you think you need to do so many videos, as all the information about Effie is already out there. Eric Dubay. I'm not Eric Dubay, I'm me. If you want to watch Eric Dubay, you go to Eric Dubay. Why are you moaning about my videos on my channel? If you don't want to watch them, don't come to the channel, fella. The only reason you're here is because I've done a video that's kind of laid a template and highlighted the absurdity of the current situation with the Aussie Cossack and Putin, and of course the war, and of course space and the flat earth, level earth. Because of that, that's why you're here, trying to gaslight. Are you telling me to unsubscribe from your channel? Done. Good riddance, fella. You didn't really shine there with your tactics, Christian. You didn't address the fundamentals of my claims here, which of course were, why, if Putin was a truther, why didn't he expose space? Bearing in mind the Soyuz rockets supposedly took American astronauts to the space station. He could have exposed the whole shabam without bloodshed, fella. Instead, we've got war. And of course, because of that, because I've highlighted that and exposed certain figures, in turn, I get to expose other figures in the comment section as they reveal their hand, as they pathetically attempt to gaslight me. All you've done, son, is show the tactics used and how weak they are. When you stand by what is, and you base everything from simple truths, using discernment, common sense and logic, with no dishonesty in your heart, no bias. It's like reading a kid's book, those old ladybird books. It's so obvious. I don't mind people disagreeing with me. But when the very fundamentals of the whole thing, i.e. the shape of the earth, give the game away, and if you ignore that and then want to entertain and pretend you know what's going on in the battlefield in Ukraine, yeah, you kind of expose yourself. And of course the tactics. It was obvious. I smelt ya before I even read your comment, Christian. Nice try though, fella. Always enjoy it to highlight these people who come in. It's great to show the tactics. But like I say, gaslighting, these psychological tactics they use, never work when you've got honesty in your heart. You don't sell out. You're not swayed by money. You just stand by what is. And as a result, you crush delusions, propaganda and lies for fun without even trying. And as a result, you get to expose different characters on your journey, showing the different techniques employed by these various individuals and establishments, crushing, stamping on it as you go. Great stuff.